Hi everyone, my name is Iman, and today I'll be going through the social marketing models and frameworks covered by Module 4. So, first, we'll recall some definitions that may be familiar to many of us already. Then, we'll look into three social marketing models that have been used in achieving behavioral change, which is the goal of our social mobilization and social marketing activities. Then we'll look at the points where these models align and make our own model. So, with that, let's begin. As a recap, what is social marketing? So, social marketing involves marketing and communication principles. It utilizes communication technologies to elicit and maximize participation from the intended audience, and it facilitates the social mobilization. Social mobilization, on the other hand, is the process of creating a vast social movement for a particular development program. It's a self sustaining process that converges government and NGO efforts. So, for all of this to happen, we need to come up with a strategic communications plan. So, in marketing parlance, this means assessing the market, knowing your target audience, and what they need to hear, and designing a plan to reach out to them so that behavioral change can be possible. So, to guide us, we look at models or frameworks. Models of communication provide us with a visual representation of the different aspects of a communication situation, helping us make better informed decisions so that we can achieve our goals. So, let's look at some of these models and frameworks. Today, we'll look into the COMBI model, the P process model, and the 8 step communications model. So let's go through them one by one. So first we have the COMBI model, or the Communication for Behavioral Impact. It was first applied by the WHO to address Ebola in Sudan in 2004. But before that, its roots can be traced in integrated marketing communications, in that we conduct appropriate market analysis, quote unquote, in relation to behavioral impact. So, WHO defines the COMBI model as a planning framework that is based on two things. First, social behavior, so behavioral models and communication, and second, marketing theory and practice. To get the envisioned behavioral result, we consider HICDARM, or first, we hear about the behavior, then we are informed about it, and later convinced that it is worthwhile. In time, we decide to act on the new behavior, and later we act on the new behavior. We then reinforce our action by feeling satisfied about carrying out the behavior. If all is well, we maintain the behavior. So, at its core, the COMBI model focuses on behavioral impact, not only raising awareness. So, HICDARM can be visualized in the following steps. These steps were used in combating a dengue outbreak in a community, and eventually can also be used to develop SOC mobilization activities or strategic communication plans on prevention and control. So we identify the objectives. Second, we conduct the market, quote unquote, market analysis. And then we refine the communication objectives, design the overall strategy, prepare the monitoring plans and the budget, implement, adapt as necessary, and then we evaluate once the outbreak is over. So, no single activity or material will guarantee success. Each strategy requires a judicious blend of communication interventions to achieve behavioral impact. So, for the COMBI model, we consider 5 points. First is the public relations, or administrative mobilization, putting the agenda on mass media, a community mobilization, which is more participatory, the use of trad media, roadshow, or home visits. A third, sustained appropriate advertising, which includes the MRIP fashion, massive, repetitive, intense, and persistent advertising on TV, radio, and print, engaging people to review the merits of the behavior versus the cost of carrying it out. A fourth is the personal selling or counseling via volunteers, dev workers, or carrying out informational literature and listening to the people on the ground while distributing the literature. And finally, point of service promotion, which emphasizes accessible and readily available availability of services. So the next model is the eight-step communication model. Its version of HICDARM is lengthier. Thus, for the first step, meaning you start with a thorough assessment of your current situation, and then you set measurable communication goals. You define your intended or sometimes called your target audience, and then you develop and pre-test messages for your intended audiences. You select the best ways to deliver the messages, create an action plan for delivering your messages and materials, develop and pretest the materials you wish to create, and then finally implement the plan. So while this is lengthier and we have our keywords to remember, to visualize the model, we can imagine it as a donut. So we assess the current situation by asking the right questions that will identify the strengths and weaknesses, the opportunities and threats facing the program. So we conduct the SWOT analysis, as we call it. And then we set goals by setting specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely objectives or SMART objectives for implementing the goals. Then we identify the intended audience, develop and pretest by framing your message in your target audience's values, state benefits, and overcoming barriers. And then we select channels by researching which channels are most effective to reach your target audience. So we have to consider here the frequency and mix depending on your knowledge of your audience. Then we develop an action plan, like listing major activities or tasks, target dates, and even to the point of assigning the person responsible. And then we develop and pretest materials to check for memorability, impact, and other key attributes such as readability, of course. And then we implement, evaluate, and modify the plan as needed to adapt to the changing times. So finally, the third model is the P process model. It's a tool originally developed for health communications, updated to become a tool for planning health centered social and behavioral change communication initiatives. In the past, it has been used for campaigns that aim to reduce HIV transmission in communities, promote family planning, and prevent diseases, among others. So the P process naman has five steps. You inquire, design, create, mobilize and monitor, evaluate and evolve. It's called the P process because visually it looks like the letter P, where the cycle begins again at step 2 after the program evolves, quote unquote, in step 5. There are also three cross cutting concepts embedded in the P process, which is your understanding of the theory of social and behavioral change, your stakeholder participation, and the continuous capacity strengthening, so that you can do the process all over again and improve on the existing comms plan. So, with all of this, how do we make it our own? Some of these steps may be too cumbersome for our project designs or SOC marketing activities. So, there's no single formula or model that will magically make our communications effective. So, what these models show us is that there are common denominators or common terms we can consider in coming up with our own framework in implementing our social marketing or social mobilization activities. So, looking back at the models side by side, at which points or steps do all of this align? So there are common words to note here, such as inquire, assess, identify, goals, targets, objectives, develop, design, create, mobilize, prepare, pretest, implement, evaluate, and adapt. So from this, we can make a mental note of what steps we should remember all the time, which are our non negotiables. So, first is to always assess the problem situation, and then we strategize and set goals based on our audience and the objectives. We design the plan for implementation, we implement the plan, and then we evaluate and modify as needed. So I hope my presentation was helpful in understanding social marketing models. Here are some discussion points to deepen our appreciation of the models and how it affects the work that we do. So here are my references. And thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing everyone at the discussion forum. Thank you.